this training module, we're talking about building a powerful sales organization. In this particular training video, our topic is improving your batting average. Improving your batting average. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, we get this from baseball. In baseball, baseball players, they measure and they track how well they hit and how well they perform at the plate. And they check their stats and they watch their batting average. In fact, in baseball, if you've got anything close to 300, 30% of hits, then you're pretty outstanding in baseball. Actually, if you're hitting the ball 30% of the time in sales, you're probably going to be pretty outstanding in sales too. But I'll explain what we mean about batting average in just a moment. I want you to think about first, what type of selling does your company do? For example, your company may do inside sales. And inside sales is what you typically see in retail or in the restaurant industry, anywhere where people come to your business to make their purchase. And you have salespeople inside your store, inside your shop, inside your restaurant, there to help your customers or prospects buy your products or services. That's inside sales. And then there's outside sales. Maybe you do outside sales. And by outside sales, what I mean is you or your sales staff are going outside of your company walls. You're going to the community. You're going door to door. You're going B2B. You're going outside of the office or the store itself to find customers, to prospect, to make sales. So that's outside sales. So do you do inside sales? Or do you do primarily outside sales? Now, you may do digital sales. In your business, you may be focused on selling online. And so it might be that most or all of your sales happens through the digital platform. And that's a good thing as well. Or you may have another method or another way that you make sales, or you may have a combination of all of these different things. I want you to think about that, because how you implement these concepts that I'm going to be teaching will vary some if you're inside sales or outside sales. I'm going to lean as we go through this to outside sales. And just think about it, though. If you do primarily inside sales, you've got people in your store or shop answering the phone, taking sales orders, responding to customers as they walk in, responding to emails and order forms as they come in across the internet. If that's what's going on, then you can adapt the things that I'm talking about to fit that context very easily. So I'm going to be leaning toward outside sales as we go through this. Now, in sales, there are 3 keys to success. And I get this from David Sandler in the Sandler Sales System. I want to tell you right now, I am a big fan of Sandler Sales. If you're not familiar with Sandler, look them up online. They've got a lot of good online resources. They've got some wonderful videos on YouTube. In fact, you might want to watch the 49 Sandler Rules on video. These are wonderful little videos to encourage and train yourself. They're tools that you can use with your staff. And there are 49 of them. And they're all about a 2.5 minute video each. But David Sandler was a sales professional several years ago who, in his sales career, began to realize some things. First, he began to realize that people would anticipate him coming to make a sales call. And if you haven't experienced this, and I'm sure you have, we all have if we've done any sales, people are guarded. People are cautious. People are sometimes, they go into a sales conversation with you and they're defensive, they're negative, they're harsh sometimes with us as we're trying to make a connection, because they've been burned, they've been hurt, they've been taken advantage of, or they feel like they've been taken advantage of by a less than scrupulous salesperson. So I think that as sales professionals, we've got to be thinking about how do we make an honest, positive impact on the people that we're trying to sell to. And we're going to get into this in a lot more detail as we go through this training. But David Sandler, as he was going out, he began to realize, I've got to have a system that is honest, that is authentic, but that helps that customer relax, helps them put down their guard. And that's how he developed the whole Sandler sales system. Now, we're not going to cover the whole Sandler sales system in these training videos, but you're going to hear me reference it. And you're going to, if you're familiar with Sandler at all, you're going to realize, hey, a lot of these concepts and tools and techniques come from David Sandler. And I just want you to know that right up front. If you want to know more, contact your local Sandler sales representative. I don't get a commission for saying this. I only say it because I believe it will help you if you want or need more sales training. But one of the concepts that he came up with was the sales triangle. And the sales triangle has three components. It's behavior, attitude, and technique. And those are the three keys to sales success. Behaviors, attitude, and technique. And that's where I get this concept of your batting average, B-A-T, your batting average. And I'll explain that here at the end. But let's talk about those three just briefly, and then in the following videos we're going to go into them in more depth. First, let's start with behaviors. Successful salespeople, as Brian Tracy says, simply practice successful habits. They practice the right behaviors that produce the results, and they turn those behaviors into habits. And therefore, successful people simply practice successful habits. And so you want to think about, what are the important behaviors that you engage in as a sales professional? What are the important behaviors that you want your staff who are selling for you to engage in? And they may be simple, just personal behaviors. It may be prospecting behaviors. It may be calling behaviors. It may be a number of different types of behaviors. It may include goal setting. It may include daily action plans. It may be a tracking system that you want them to maintain. But think about, what are those critical behaviors that help you succeed and that will help your staff succeed in sales? So we'll talk about behaviors in more detail later. The second component is attitude. And many times, attitude kind of trumps everything else. You may know the right behaviors but not do them. Why? Because your head's not in the game. You don't have the right attitude or the right mindset. And so you've got to, as a sales professional, you've got to discipline your mind. You've got to manage your attitude and your thought processes and keep them positive, keep them optimistic. You've got to have a good, positive, strong attitude about yourself, about your company, about your product or services. And so attitude is critical. In fact, in the next training, we're going to dig into attitude in a lot of depth. But that's the second component. The third component is technique. You can practice the right behaviors, you can have the right attitude, and still do well. But if you can hone and refine your techniques, you will achieve so much more. And so we'll talk about some techniques, some key techniques that will help you in your personal selling and help you as a business owner as you train and encourage and coach and manage your sales team. So as we wrap up this, I want you to evaluate yourself in those three areas. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high, how would you rate yourself right now in sales behaviors? If you'd say, I have very, very poor or unintentional behaviors, you might give yourself a 0 or a 1. If you'd say, man, my behaviors are perfect, they are producing exactly what they need and have the potential to produce, give yourself a 10. So where are you on that scale? Give yourself a score on behaviors. Secondly, give yourself a score on attitude. And by attitude, I mean I maintain a daily positive, optimistic, abundance mindset. And if you'd say, boy, I just struggle with that so much, you might be down on the 1 or 2 side of the scale. If you'd say, boy, every day is a new day, an exciting day, and I am almost perfect in that area every day, then give yourself a 10. But wherever you are, score yourself right now and kind of think about, where are you on that scale? And then finally, where are you on the technique scale? Have you thought about your techniques? Are you refining your techniques? Are you improving your communication, your value proposition, and how you go about selling. So evaluate yourself again on a scale of 0 to 10 or 1 to 10. And as you move forward in this training module, keep that in mind and work on yourself as you work on building a sales system.